Welcome to Financial Perspectives, the podcast, where we cover timely topics related to the current economic environment and keep you up to date on investment news. We also provide insights on how investors can maintain a long-term perspective. Please stick around at the end for important disclosure information. More information about Foster Group can be found in our ADV brochure at fostergrp.com.
Hi, I'm Jason Brown. I'm the Director of Advisor Success at Foster Group, and today I get to interview one of my colleagues, Stacie Neussendorfer, who's an advisor in Omaha. And Stacie, the first thing I want to ask is, what is that picture on your wall?
Oh, Jason. So I'm a University of Nebraska graduate, and behind me, much too old, I might say, but it is a poster from the national championship when Nebraska played Miami in, I have to check, 1995, the Miracle in Miami.
Yes. And I know Stacie's a huge Nebraska fan. We have 3 or 4 of those on staff. And as Stacie likes to tell me, we need to keep adding them. But I love the Iowa Hawkeyes. So even though it pained me to ask that question, I knew she would enjoy answering it.
Well, my Husker, friends and clients will appreciate it.
So tell us what you like most about your job.
Well, I love that I get to help people. My mother doesn't understand why I don't practice law anymore. And that's a whole different story. But what I do at Foster Group is a lot like when I practice law. People come in looking for a solution to a question, and I get to help them. So I get to, kind of use my problem solving skills. I get to, talk with them and help them get from where they are to where they want to be. And I have learned so many interesting things from the people that I have had the pleasure of working with over the years, things that I wouldn't have even, imagined. Interesting jobs people have or interesting backgrounds. And that's what I really love. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that I love working with all of my great colleagues as well.
Thank you, Stacie. When you think back, whatever it was, 17 years ago, when you started in this profession and now, how would you say your perspective has changed over the years?
Oh, it's not so much. I've learned a lot about investments and from where I started, obviously practicing law, but I would say it's more on the softer side of things and working with people. I've learned a lot when you're younger and maybe somewhat naive. You think you're pretty smart, but you learn as you go along that you're not maybe as smart as you thought you were. And I've learned that, no matter how much you think you know about something, there's somebody who knows more. And, you might think you understand, where a person is in life or what they've experienced, but you don't really understand that unless you can walk in their shoes.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think your clients value most about working with you and Foster Group?
I have wonderful clients. I think they really appreciate first that we are fiduciaries. That is a term that not everybody knows. It's gotten a lot more publicity over the last few years, but knowing that we have their best interests at heart, I think is really important to them. We've had some clients come through the door who've worked with other advisors and maybe it left a bad taste in their mouth. And so they're really looking for that transparency that we provide to clients. And so I think they appreciate that. I also think that they appreciate that, we really care about them as people. Many of my clients, they know about my kids and my dogs and, they know a lot of details about my personal life, and that we get to know them on a personal level.
And I do need to say that Stacie does love her clients. So I've had the good fortune of running into many of them, and they talk about how much they love her. So,
Thank you, Jason.
so this is like an honesty question. We ask this of our advisors when we do these interviews, but what are some of the best and some of the worst money decisions that you've made as an
I
advisor?
was hoping you were going to ask that. Well, some of the best decisions. I mean, my dad did a really good job of instilling in me the value of saving at a young
Mm.
age. So, and then my mom, my mom taught me how to shop on sale. So, it's just like you can buy twice as much if you buy the things on sale. So,
That's
it
good.
it instilled sort of, thriftiness in me. I am not ashamed to use my coupons. I still use my coupons. My husband used to just marvel at the amount of money I would save us using coupons. So, good money habits in that regard, just,
Mhm.
saving well and spending well. However, we all sometimes slip. Um,
Yeah.
and while I'm generally really good at avoiding impulse buys, and this is probably why, back in, I want to say 2000, maybe, I bought a used Jaguar. I bought a 1990, I think it was 94 Jaguar Vandenplat because I had always wanted a Jaguar. I mean, I just, I love the look of them and I wanted one and I was in need of a new
Oh yeah.
car. So I bought this car and I mean, it had everything. It had the tea tables in the back. It had the
Oh
little
my.
shades. It had furry floor mats. And I mean, just every amenity for a car back then that you see on a lot of cars now, but not back then that you can
Uh-huh.
imagine. So I made an impulse buy. Actually, I was counting on my husband to talk me out of it, and he did not. And it was a beautiful car, but it broke my heart. I spent so much money on that car. I replaced the entire air conditioning unit when it was all said and done. And so finally, I decided the car and I had to part ways. And so
Hmm.
when it was all said and done, when you consider what I paid for the car, the money I put into the car, and what I eventually sold the car for, I took a bath.
Oh
So
my.
that was probably my worst money decision. Thankfully, I didn't pay a ton for it, but it was a good lesson too because it reminded me, avoid impulse buying. So
Especially when it's that much.
yeah, but it was a gorgeous car.
Stacie, you have no idea, but this is my dad did the same thing.
Oh, well, you
So
see, I'm not alone. I'm probably in really good
he
company.
dreamt about owning a Jaguar. There was one for sale near us, which nobody was driving those where I lived. And so he bought it. And fortunately, for a long time, he did not have to make any investments in it. And by the time he started to make investments in it, his kids had all gotten through college and marriage anyway. So,
Yeah, that was
uh,
good for him. Mine came,
yes.
I owned mine when we had our first child. And so it was like, okay, no, baby is too expensive along with the car, and I can't get rid of a
Yeah.
baby. So nor would I want to.
One of the things that we want to be good here at Foster Group is instilling optimism because there's plenty of pessimism and fear out there. So, as you think about the future, what makes you hopeful?
um, gosh, you know, you're right. There is a lot of negativity out there. But I feel that I am an optimist and I have great faith in who we are as humans, to do the right thing. Um, and maybe turn out some of the negativity and the noise that we hear out there. And so
Hmm.
no matter what, if you look over our history, not just the United States but as a human race, we've continued to evolve and hopefully learn from our mistakes. And gosh, I look at my kids and my grandkids and how bright they are and the things they're learning. Sometimes I ask my 90-year-old clients, would you have ever thought in your lifetime you would have seen X? I mean,
Yeah.
and they are just like, no. And the speed at which we're evolving, from a technology standpoint and things. I mean, I think we have the ability to do great things. And while sometimes that can be scary, I'm hopeful that we will use those tools in the right way.
Me too. Stace, I want to close with this question, and some people will be familiar with this fact, others not. But this has been probably the most difficult year of your life. Stacie lost her husband, Bob, utterly unexpectedly last October. And there's plenty of things we could talk about right now. But the thing I want to ask you about is, what would you like us to know about Bob?
Thank you, Jason. And I would say I think most people who lose someone really appreciate being asked that question. They want people to know who their loved one was, and it keeps their memory alive. And I'm going to try and hold it together here. My husband and I would have just celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary last week. So I met him at a very young age, and have, spent the majority of my life with him. And he was a big guy, a 6'3", big statured guy, but on the inside, he would hate this. He was an absolute teddy bear. He knew that.
Yeah.
But me telling the world is probably a different story. He had such a kind, giving heart. He was always looking out for the people that maybe are considered less than, some, people who needed help, and trying to figure out ways to help them. He was a wonderful father and a great spouse. I actually was rummaging through my nightstand last night when I should have been going to bed. And I found, oh my gosh, must have been 30 notes that he had left me over the years. And there are more. I just had stuffed those in my nightstand. But he would leave me little notes in my car or in the bathroom, just things for me to find to tell me to tell me that he loved me. So he was just really a kind and thoughtful person.
Stace, thanks for having the courage to answer that. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for asking, Jason.
And also, it's a pleasure working with you. And I'm so glad we had the time to do this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate you.
Likewise.
The previous presentation by Foster Group was intended for general information purposes only. No portion of the presentation serves as the receipt of, or as a substitute for, personalized investment advice from Foster Group or any other investment professional of your choosing. Different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk, and it should not be assumed that future performance of any specific investment or investment strategy, or any non-investment related or planning services, discussion, or content, will be profitable, be suitable for your portfolio or individual situation, or prove successful. Foster Group is neither a law firm nor accounting firm, and no portion of its services should be construed as legal or accounting advice. No portion of the content should be construed by a client or prospective client as a guarantee that he or she will experience a certain level of results if Foster Group is engaged, or continues to be engaged, to provide investment advisory services. A copy of Foster Group's current written disclosure brochure discussing our advisory services and fees is available upon request or at www.fostergrp.com/disclosures.